Am I in the center? Ready? बोलिए श्रीमद् सद्गुरु सरकार की जय। श्रीमद् सद्गुरु सरकार की। मत प्रेयान राधिका प्रेयान मधवो राधिका धवः तस्मादपि गरीयान्यो कृपालुर्मे जगद्गुरुः। मधुर मधुरमेतन् मंगलम मंगलानां सकल निगम वल्ली सत्फलम चित्स्वरूपम सकृदपि परिगीतं श्रद्धया हेलया वा भृगुवर्नरमात्रं तारयेत् कृष्णनाम। नमः कमलनाभाय नमः कमलमालिने नमः कमलपादाय नमस्ते कमलेक्षण। यो ब्रह्माणं विदधाति पूर्वं यो वै वेदांश्च प्रहिणोति तस्मै तग्वंहा देवमात्मबुद्धिप्रकाशं मुमुक्षुर्वै शरणमहं प्रपद्ये। Seekers of divine knowledge and bliss, let us begin as usual by chanting the holy name. Bhajo Giridhar Govind Gopala. Let's do Roop Dhyan as we chant. Please do clap and sing after me. Bhajo Giridhar Govind Gopala. गिरिधर गोविंद गोपाला भजो गिरिधर गिरिधर गोविंद गोपाला भजो गिरिधर गोविंद गोपाला भजो गिरिधर गोविंद गोपाला भजो गिरिधर गोविंद गोपाला।
भजो गिरिधर गोविंद गोपाला।
भजो गिरिधर गोविंद गोपाला।
भजो गिरिधर गोविंद गोपाला।
भजो मोर मुकुट मुरली भाला।
भजो मोर मुकुट मुरली वाला।
भजो गिरिधर गिरिधर गोविंद गोपाला।
भजो 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 गिरिधर गोविंद गोपाला। भजो गिरिधर गोविंद गोपाला। भजो गिरिधर गोविंद गोपाला। बोलिए वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की, श्रीमद् सद्गुरु सरकार की। Devotional listeners, now I request your full attention. If you have your cell phone with you, please make sure it has been turned off. Thank you. A few days ago, I started explaining a mantra from the Vedas, namely Tameva Viditvati Mrityumeti Nanyaha Pantha Vidyate Yanaya. Elaborating on this Vedic mantra, we have learned, it has been explained, that every living being is an eternal part and parcel of God, and God is another name for unlimited, everlasting, and ever-increasing happiness. So this makes every living being a part and parcel of happiness. Following the laws of nature, we, individual souls, have a natural affinity for our source, who is God. This is why we are always searching for happiness in life. We have yet to find the happiness that we seek, because the world in which we have been seeking this happiness has not given us the happiness that satisfies us. We have experienced temporary joys and pleasures, but we have not received happiness yet. And we cannot remain inactive for even a fraction of a moment. So we have always been searching for happiness. Since beginning this time, we have been searching. In every form of life, we have searched for happiness, and we continue to do so today, in this life. We have understood that in order to attain true happiness, we will have to attain God. When we went out in search for God, we were told that God cannot be known. And we were given many logical reasons why this is so. We cannot know God, who is divine, with our material criteria, namely senses, mind, and intellect. We cannot know God, who is full of mutual contradictions. Our mind becomes confused and it gives up. We cannot know God. But then countless souls have attained God. How did they do it? How did they do it? This is our question. Tulsidas Ji tells us, he says, my Lord he bestows his grace without a condition. We found out that in order to attain God, we need his grace. And Tulsidas Ji says, well, my Lord is causelessly merciful, unconditionally merciful. But we found this hard to believe, because if he is unconditionally merciful, then he should have given all of us his grace, not just to some. Some such as Sur, Tulsi, Mira, Kabir, Nanak, Tukaram, Sant Eknath, Gyaneshwar. All these saints we hear about, they attained the grace of God and we did not. So we ask Tulsidas Ji, how can we believe you when you say that God is causelessly merciful? So there are two questions before us. One is, how did these saints attain God's grace? How did they manage it? Secondly, if God is causelessly merciful, then why has he not given us his grace so far? Is he a businessman who sells his grace at the right price? We wonder. But we also know that we should not doubt the words of a saint. The words of a saint are always true. They are not the words of a worldly man or a woman. They are the words of a saint who is no less than God, who is divinity on earth. So we need to get answers to two questions, and now we shall begin. I will share with you what Jagatguru Sri Kripaluji Maharaj has said in his explanations on the Vedic scriptures. God says in the Vedas, if you wish to attain my grace, you must surrender to me. The word for surrender in Sanskrit and Hindi is Sharana. Todasyeva Sharana Amahasya, says Rig Veda. Te tva mada indra madayantu shushminam tu viradhasam jalitre eko devatra dayase. Udutishth swadhvarastavano devya kripa. To attain his kripa or grace, one must surrender to him. Etadalambanam shrestha metadalambanam param. Kathopanishad says the same, as does Shvetashvatara Yo brahmanam vidadhati purvam yo vai vedanscha prahinoti tasmai, etc. I surrender to you, my Lord. Kindly illumine my intellect. So these Vedic references prove that we need to surrender to God in order to attain his grace. After the Vedas, the Hindu scriptural hierarchy is such that first we have the Vedas, the ultimate authority of knowledge, then we have the 18 Purans. And the best of all Purans is a Bhagavad Puran, Mahapuran. Mamekameva sharana matmanam sarvadehinam yahi sarvatma bhavena mayasya hyakuto bhaya. Canto 11, Bhagavad. In this canto, chapter number 12, verse number is 15, Shri Krishna says, O Uddhav, all living beings in existence must seek shelter of my lotus feet, for I am the only shelter for all. Only one shelter for everyone, and that is God. We must surrender to him. Tameva sharanam gaccha sarva bhavena bharat. In the Bhagavad Gita, Shri Krishna gives the same message to Arjun. Arjun, surrender to me. Surrender to me. Ye tu sarvani karmani mai sanyasya matparah ananyenaiva yogena mam dhyayanta upasate teshamaham samuddharta mrityu sansara sagarat bhavamina chirat parth maya veshita chetasam ananyashchintayanto mam ye janah paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. The first two verses can be found in chapter 12, verses 6 and 7. The third one, Ananyaschintayanto mam, chapter 9, verse 22. In these three verses, Sri Krishna is saying, the one who surrenders to me wholeheartedly attains my complete grace. To attain his full grace, we must surrender 100% to him. There must not be the slightest little lack. Shri Krishna asked Arjun, what is it that you want? Shri Krishna has asked this question, and Arjun answers by saying, I want eternal peace and happiness. Do you know how you can get that? No, my Lord. You'll get that through his grace. My Lord, I don't understand. Who's he? Oh, Arjun, what I mean is you'll get that with my grace. But how do I attain your grace? Shri Krishna says, surrender to me. Tameva sharanam gaccha. Sharan mein aao, kripa milegi. In the Ramayana we read the same. Sanmukh jeev hohi mohi jabahi janm koti aghna sahi tabahi man kram vachan chhadi chaturai bhajatahi kripa karat raghurai. In sweet, sweet words, Tulsidas ji has said in Ramcharitmanas that the one who surrenders to the Supreme Lord attains his grace. The one who renounces all tricks and tactics, man kram vachan. Mentally, he renounces all trickery. He becomes innocent-hearted. Kram, with his actions, he becomes absolutely pure. He renounces all tricks, all artificiality. He becomes very genuine, and vachan through his speech. Man, kram, vachan, chhadi chaturai. Let go of all your cleverness. Become like an innocent child and surrender to me. Then I shall grace you. At many places in the Ramayana, this has been said. When we surrender to Him, He takes care of us like a mother takes care of her newborn. It's very beautiful to see a mother with her newborn because she takes complete care of him. The newborn child cannot do anything for himself. He can't even lay down by himself. He can't turn sides. He can't do anything. And the mother takes complete care of the child. She gives her complete grace. करऊं सदा तिन्हके रखवारी जिमि बालक राखई महतारी. As a mother takes care of Balak, her child, a newborn child, so shall I take care of you. So shall I grace you when you surrender to me, says God. Jagadguru Ramanujacharya prays to God. Sarvadharmanscha santyajya sarvakamanscha saksharan lokavikranta charanau sharanam te brajam vibho. Bhagavan, my Lord, I have renounced all varieties of dharma. Sarvadharmanscha santyajya sarvakamanscha saksharan. I have given up all my desires and I have come to seek shelter of your lotus feet, for I know that you will surely grace me if I surrender to you. In Alavandar Stotram, Acharya, Yamunacharya says, Na dharma nishtosmi, na chatma vedi, na bhaktiman stvacharanaravinde, akinchano nanyagati sharanyam, tvatpadamulam sharanam prapadye. With utmost humility, Yamunacharya says, Maharaj, I have no devotion. I have not even a trace of devotion in my heart. And I don't know anything about dharma. I'm a very fallen soul. But I have one strength. And that strength is my faith in you. The faith that tells me that if I surrender to you, if I surrender to your lotus feet, you will surely grace me. Other than that, I have nothing going for me. No devotion, no dharma. I do not know anything. No knowledge, nothing. But I know that even though I am destitute, yet if I surrender to you, you will bestow your grace upon me. Adi Shankaracharya says, Dhanyoham krita krityoham vimuktoham bhavagrahat nityananda swarupoham purnoham tvadanugrahat. Adi Shankaracharya, the first Jagadguru of Kali Yuga, he says, I have become liberated. I have become blessed. Dhanyoham, krita krityoham. I have attained everything there is to be attained. But how did you manage all this? How did you get all this? Oh, tvadanugrahat, with His grace. I surrendered to Him. He gave me His grace. That's all. I didn't do anything. He gave me His grace when I surrendered. So, now it seems that we have to do something to attain His grace. So there's a doubt inside of us, and that is that He wants us to do something before He gives His grace. Otherwise, He would have given it. So saints such as Adi Shankaracharya, Yamunacharya, Ramanujacharya, and there's so many more I have not quoted, they say that they surrendered to God and that's how they got the grace. So now we have the answer to one of our questions, and that is, how did these personalities attain God's grace? The answer is they surrendered to Him. So we think they performed the action of surrendering to God. They had to do something before God gave them His grace. So the second question is, why have I not attained His grace? So it seems that you have to do something to attain His grace. God says, not so fast. Don't judge me without finding out the entire truth. It is true that I want you to surrender to me, But first find out what surrender means before you accuse me of being a businessman who sells his grace, rather than the merciful one who gives his grace unconditionally. All right? We are willing to give him a fair trial. What do you say? Yes? We will give him a fair trial and we'll find out what surrender means. What does it mean to surrender to him? Well, there are two kinds of actions. In very simple terms, good and bad actions. There are good actions, there are bad actions. There are virtuous deeds, there are sinful actions. Just two kinds of actions. Punyena punyalokam nayati, papena papam ubhabhyameva manushyalokam. Prashnopanishad 3:7. Prashna 3, verse 7, mantra number 7. This mantra says, if you perform virtuous deeds, you will attain virtuous abodes. Swargalok, celestial abode, where devtas live. And you attain lots of pleasures. Pleasures like you never have imagined. And if you perform sinful deeds, you are sent to Naraklok, the hellish abode. And if you perform a mixture of good deeds and bad deeds, virtuous deeds and sinful actions, then you are confined to this earthly abode. You come here and you remain here in different forms of life. You come back again and again. All right. ठीक है. There are two kinds of actions, good and bad. Now, let's find out. God says, find out what kind of action surrender is. What surrender is. We say, whether it's a good action or a bad action, the fact is that you expect us to do something before you give your grace. God smiles and says, no, find out. Go to the Gita. We go to the Bhagavad Gita and we learn from our Guru Dev the gist of the Gita, the message of the Gita. Not by ourselves. I am not saying by any means that we should pick up the Gita and get the answer. The more we read these scriptures, the more confused we will become. Shrutir vibhinna smritayo vibhinna naiko muniryasya vachah pramanam. These scriptures seem to expound such different philosophies, and even one and the same scripture seems to be contradicting itself. So there's nothing but confusion that arises if and when we read scriptures. But with our Guru's grace, we learn about self-surrender, about Sharanagati from the Bhagavad Gita. In the first chapter of the Gita, we see a very conflicted Arjun who says to Sri Krishna, Gandivam sransate hastat tvakchaiva paridahyate nacha shaknomyavasthatum bhramati vachame manah. Chapter 1, verse 30. Arjun says, Maharaj, my bow, Gandiv, the name of his bow is Gandiv. Gandiv is slipping from my hands. My mind is reeling with confusion. My skin is as if burning. It's as if my body's on fire. Maharaj, I cannot even stand steady on my 2 feet. I cannot fight this battle. Eva muktva arjuna sankhye rathopastha upavishat visrijya sasharam chapam shoka sambigna manasah. Chapter 1, verse 47. Arjun, having spoken these words, a very tormented Arjun cast away his bow and arrow, and he sat in the back seat of the chariot, clearly indicating that he had no intention of fighting the battle. Now, at this point, the chariot is placed in the center of the battlefield. The war is about to begin, and Arjun is confused. And he admits it. Maharaj, I'm very, very confused. I cannot decide on the right course of action, so you please tell me what to do. Shishyasteham shadhimam tvam prapannam. Chapter 2, verse 7. Please tell me what to do. I am asking as your fully surrendered disciple. Karpanya dosho pahata swabhava prichhami tvam dharma sammudha chetah. Yachreyasya nishchitam bruhi tanme shishyasteham shadhimam tvam prapannam. Tell me what to do. O Gurudev, I am your fully surrendered disciple. Shri Krishna says, Arjun, you are needlessly worrying about fighting this battle. Arjun is saying to the Lord, my Lord, these are my own friends, my kinsmen, my elders, my teachers. I have played in their laps. They have taught me everything I know. And these are my own cousins. I cannot shoot arrows at them. I cannot kill them. I prefer to be killed myself. I prefer to be killed rather than killing them. And why should I desire a kingdom and wealth that goes along with it if all of those for whom I may desire wealth and kingdom are dead? It doesn't make any sense. My conscience does not allow me to fight this battle. But I'm not able to think clearly, so you tell me what to do. Arjun has used a very important word in this verse, and that is prapannam. Pannam means externally surrendered, being externally surrendered. Like we bow our head before God and Guru. We say pranam. We may be thinking against the Guru. We may be having lots of doubts about God, but we go like this. That is called panna disciple or panna devotee. Just externally surrendered. But as Jagatguru Sri Kripaluji Maharaj says in Radha Govind Geet, Shri Guru Charano mein Govind Radhe, Sir ko hi nahi, man ko bhi jhuka de. It is not enough to just bow your head before God and Guru. You must surrender your mind. You must surrender your mind. You may not bow your head, but if your mind is surrendered, then that's good. That's enough. But if your head is bowing itself so low, you go so low, and then you actually do a sashtang pranam. Your whole body is laying down. Dandavat pranam, like a danda, like a stick. You are laying your whole body on the ground, and yet the mind is confused about God and saints. Then that is not surrender. So Arjun says, I am not like those who surrender physically. I am fully surrendered to you. I am mentally surrendered to you. Tell me what to do. Shri Krishna says, Arjun, I will tell you that if you do not fight the battle, you are going to be committing a sinful deed. Everyone heads up, please. Straight back. Thank you. You are committing a sinful deed if you turn your back on the battlefield. And Arjun asked, how is it a sinful deed not wanting to fight the battle? Arjun, you are a kshatriya, you are a warrior, and it is your duty to fight this battle, which cannot be avoided. Duryodhan, as you know, is very stubborn. He does not listen. You have to fight this battle. If you do not perform your duty as a kshatriya, as a warrior, then the consequence is the attainment of hell. Arjun thought about this, and then he asked, what if I do fight the battle? Arjun, if you fight the battle, one of the two things is sure to happen. Either you'll be killed, or you will emerge victorious. If you're killed, you'll go to Swargalok because you have died while doing your duty. And in Swargalok, in the celestial abodes, you'll receive lots of pleasures like you've never seen on this earth. All right? So that's what you'll receive if you die. If you emerge victorious, well, you'll become king of the world. Not a bad deal, Arjun. Tere dono haathon mein laddu hai. We say this in Hindi. In English, it's different. It's a win-win situation. We don't say you have donuts in both your hands. No, it's a win-win situation. If you die, well, you'll go to Swargalok. If you live, you'll enjoy the pleasures of this world. Now, Arjun is very intelligent. He says, Maharaj, I certainly don't want to go to hell. And yet, you are telling me that I'll either enjoy Swargalok or pleasures of this earth. Now, one of them I'm familiar with. I have enjoyed pleasures of the world, and I have found out that they don't satisfy me. The world does not have unlimited and everlasting happiness. What I'm seeking, it's not in the world. But I don't know about the celestial abode. I don't know about Swargalok. Is there true happiness in Swarga? Now, this is a confusion that most Hindus have, because most Hindus think that after death they would like to go to Swarga. And they think going to Swarga is a very good thing. This is why when a family member passes away, then they write letters, or now they send emails saying, my dearly departed mother, she is Swargavasini. My dearly departed grandfather is now Swargavasi. Now he is dwelling in Swargalok, she is living in Swarga. The Vedas are saying, no, I don't think you should say that, because if you say that your dearly departed grandmother is living in Swargalok, you're calling her a fool. Heavens, I would never call her a fool. I would not insult her. I dearly love her and I respect her so much. Well, then don't send her to Swargalok. Why? Shri Krishna says to Arjun now, answering Arjun's question, he says, Tetam bhuktva swargalokam vishalam kshine punye martyalokam vishanti evam trayi dharma manuprapanna gata kama kama labhante. In the 9th chapter, Shri Krishna says, O Arjun, the pleasures of Swargalok are no doubt very, very great. They are amazing pleasures, but they come to an end. They are not eternal happiness. They come to an end. And after enjoying the pleasures of Swarga, one has to leave one day. Tavat pramodate swarge yavat punyam samapyate. Bhagavad Puran says, when your merits are finished, then you are mercilessly thrown out of Swargalok. Imagine how that must feel. He was a president at one point, and there were so many bodyguards, and they were looking in all directions to make sure that he's protected. And now he's no longer the president. And there's no bodyguard, nobody's asking him for interviews, nobody's interviewing him, nobody cares about his opinions. He doesn't have the status anymore, and that must hurt. Or imagine being a very popular movie star, and then you age, and then you go into hiding. You wear different types of sunglasses, even at night, because you don't want your face to be seen, and actually nobody wants to see you anymore, because you lost that beauty. You lost that elasticity in your face. There are now wrinkles on your face. Nobody wants to see that face. That must hurt a lot. When you go from a very high position and you lose that high position, it hurts. Now, somebody who's over here all life long, he's not devastated because he was here when he was born, he's here now that he's dying. He didn't lose any status. So once we leave Swargalok, it must hurt. It must cause a lot of pain, because the scriptures say after leaving Swargalok, then the soul is punished by being given the body of an ant or an insect, body of lower living creatures. Why did you aspire for Swargalok? That is so low. You made a mistake. So Arjun, there is no lasting happiness in Swargalok. I see. So then, I don't know what to do. I don't wish to go to hell. I've heard all about hell. There are lots of torments there. A little child, there were children in Hinduism class, and they were being taught about Swarg and Narak and so on. So the teacher asked, I'm sure none of you wants to go to Naraklok, hell. One of the children said, but I want to go. Why do you want to go? I want to see what it's like. I'm curious. Arjun is not curious. He knows. He knows about the torments of hell. He knows about them. He says, I don't wish to go there. And now that you've told me about Swargalok, I certainly don't wish to go there. And I know that there's no lasting happiness in the world, so what do I do? What should I do? Shri Krishna said, Arjun, do not perform, this is very important, do not perform the virtuous action of fighting the battle. If you do, you'll get to Swargalok, or you'll attain heavenly, earthly pleasures. And do not perform the sinful deed of not fighting the battle, because you'll be sent down to Naraklok. but do fight the battle. Do not perform the virtuous action of fighting the battle. Do not perform the evil or sinful action of not fighting the battle, but resolve upon battle. Tasmaduttishta kaunteya yuddhaya krita nishchaya. Resolve upon battle, O mighty armed Arjun. Arjun says, Maharaj, I'm not able to solve this riddle. What do you mean? Shri Krishna says, Arjun, the one who manages to solve this riddle attains everything there is to attain. He does not need to do anything else. Arjun, you have to come to a stage of complete inactivity. That's what I'm saying. Come to a stage of complete inactivity. Surrender only to me. Don't do anything else. Leave, renounce all your duties. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. In the final chapter of the Gita, in the 18th chapter, Shri Krishna says, Arjun, renounce all your duties. Your moral duties, ethical duties, familial duties, all kinds of duties. Let them go. Renounce them and just surrender to me. But Maharaj, if I leave my duty, if I renounce my duty, I'm committing a sin, and as a result, I'll go down to hell. Why are you asking me to do this? Arjun, may I remind you that I am the one who gives you consequence, who is responsible for giving you the fruits of your sinful deeds and virtuous deeds? Need I remind you, Arjun? I am the one who gives you the fruits of your actions, and I am telling you, Aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma shuchaha. Ma shuchaha. Do not worry. I shall absolve you of all sins, and I shall give you liberation. Do not worry. Come to a stage of complete inactivity. Renounce all your duties. Sarva dharman parityajya. We see that even in the world, when we cease all activities, we are given grace. For instance, when the armed forces of a country surrender to the enemy, they put down their weapons, they put up their hands, they indicate that they have surrendered. What they're saying is, we surrender, we're not going to do anything now, you grace us. You grace me. I have thrown away my weapon, and I'm at your mercy. So then the enemy, they take them as prisoners, and they're given food and shelter. These prisoners of war, they're given food and shelter and so on. If a businessman declares bankruptcy, it means that now he is absolved of his financial responsibilities. And I already talked about the newborn child. The newborn child who does nothing receives grace from his mother. Shri Krishna says, give up all your duties and surrender to me alone. Come to a stage of complete inactivity. That is what surrender is. Surrender means doing nothing. Shri Krishna says, I shall perform all your work, you just surrender to me. And when we surrender to him, Shri Krishna says, I shall give you gifts like you can never imagine. As soon as you surrender to me, aham tvam sarva papebhyo, I shall absolve you of all sins, countless sins you have performed in innumerable lives. I shall forgive them all. You see, if God does not do this, none of us has any hope, because we have lived countless times. Countless times we have performed virtuous deeds. Countless times we have performed sinful deeds. And so, if we have to bear the consequences of all those deeds, then we will be going to Swargalok forever and ever. For countless times we'll go to Swarga, countless times we'll be going to Naraklok, countless times we'll be coming back to this world. We will never be free of the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. Shri Krishna says, as soon as you surrender to me, I shall absolve you of all sins. Mind you, sins over here means both sinful deeds and virtuous deeds. They're both known as sins because they both bind the individual to this world. Karmana baddhyate jantuhu. As long as we are performing actions, we are being bound by the consequences of those actions. So when we surrender to Him, He absolves us of all sins. Further, Bhidyate hridaya granthischhidyante sarva sanshayah kshiyante chasya karmani drishta eva khilatmani. Bhagavatam. I fill your mind, I shall fill your mind with knowledge. I shall remove the cobwebs of doubts and confusions from your mind. And I shall bless you with unlimited knowledge. God gives the surrendered soul unlimited knowledge. The same knowledge that He has, He gives to the one who surrenders. And then, after having done that, Anubrajamyaham nityam puye yetyangri renubhi. Bhagavad Puran. I walk behind the surrendered devotee, says Bhagavan Sri Krishna. I walk behind him so that I may be blessed with the dust that is raised from his lotus feet as he walks. In other words, I love the surrendered soul so much that I always walk behind him. Sri Krishna says in Garud Puran, Yad durlabham yadaprapyam manaso yanna gocharam tadapya prarthito dhyato dadati madhusudanah. When someone surrenders to Him, God says, I will give him yad durlabham, that which is very difficult to attain. Yada prapyam, even that which is impossible to attain. And manaso yanna gocharam, I will give him, the surrendered disciple, devotee, even that which he cannot even think about. We cannot even conceive of the gifts in our mind that He gives to us once we surrender to Him. So the question is, why haven't we surrendered to Him? Firstly, possibly because we did not know about the gifts He gives once we surrendered to Him. And secondly, because we don't know how to surrender. What does it mean by surrendering? What does that mean? We hear that by reciting certain shlokas, we are surrendering to God. So what we have done in countless lives, what we have done is just recite mantras. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Oh Shri Krishna, I surrender to you. By speaking these words, we thought we are surrendering to Him. By performing various rituals and ceremonies, we thought we are surrendering to Him. I'm taking a little water in my right hand, then I'm raising my left arm, then I'm reciting a mantra, and then I'm throwing the water like this. Whoops. Throwing the water like this, and I recite the mantra which says, My Lord, please forgive me for all the sins I have committed during the night. And then in the evening, I do the same thing with a little difference in the mantra to reflect the time change. Please forgive me all the sins I have committed during the day. And we thought that's what surrender to God means. We just perform rituals and ceremonies. So we did that a lot. We recited wonderful mantras, we recited beautiful words, and we performed many, many beautiful ceremonies. We have been like a man who was very fond of drinking, and he knew it was a sin, but he couldn't help himself. So he would drink after he came back from work, and then the following morning he would get up and he would feel so guilty, and he would say, Toba, 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 forgive me, forgive me, forgive me, for I have sinned. So शाम को खूब सी पी और सुबह को तोबा कर ली. शाम को खूब सी पी, सुबह को तोबा कर ली, तो रिंद के रिंद रहे, हाथ से जन्नत ना गई. So he thought, well, I am drinking every night because I am addicted, but it's okay because every morning, the next morning, I ask for forgiveness, so God forgives me. This has been like our surrender, this verbal surrender. We commit a wrong and we say, forgive me. Kshama karo, toba, toba, toba. We hold on to our ears. We speak different words depending on the language we speak. But we say, forgive me, forgive me. And then we commit the same sin. We say, forgive me, forgive me. And we think we are surrendering to God, but no, this is not surrender. Surrendering to God has to be done with the mind. It is the mind that has to surrender to God, not the physical senses. We are not to surrender to God verbally, physically, or ceremoniously. We are to surrender to God mentally. It is the mind which performs all our actions. Our mind is a performer of all our actions. In Panchadashi, Adi Shankaracharya says, Mana eva manushyanam karanam bandha mokshayoho. Mind alone is the reason behind bandhan, bondage to this material world, as well as liberation, moksha, liberation from it. For mind is a performer of all actions. Virtuous, sinful deeds, both are performed by the mind. So if we are going to surrender to God, naturally it is the mind that has to be given to God. We need to surrender with our mind. Now we can go back to the riddle that Shri Krishna presented before Arjun. He said, do not perform the virtuous action of fighting the battle, and do not perform the sinful action of not fighting the battle, but fight the battle. Meaning, if you fight the battle because it's your duty to do so, because it's a virtuous action, then you are attached to this action, and every action bears reaction, Arjun. Avashyameva bhoktavyam kritam karma shubha shubham, good and or bad, every action bears fruit, sooner or later. And if you perform the sinful deed of not fighting the battle, you'll be punished. You'll go down to narak lok, hellish abodes. So you are once again tied up by the consequences of your actions. So do not perform the virtuous action of fighting the battle. Do not perform the sinful action of not fighting the battle, but fight the battle. So if I fight the battle, isn't it a virtuous action? No, Arjun, because while you are fighting the battle, you must think about me. Give your mind to me. Surrender your mind to me. You're fighting the battle. You're shooting arrows at the enemy. But your mind, in your mind, there is no malice. There is no hatred. There's no feeling of revenge. You are just thinking about me. You're practicing devotion to me as you are fighting the battle. Do two things at once. Surrender to me mentally and do your duty externally. So then your mind is practicing devotion, and you are going to be rewarded for the devotion, not the physical action. If you fight the battle thinking it is your moral duty and it is your duty as a warrior to fight the battle, then you will either attain earthly pleasures or celestial pleasures, and you're going to be bound in this material world of Maya. If you don't fight the battle, that's a sinful deed. Again, you are bound by hellish abodes, your actions. The consequence of that action is the attainment of hell. But you fight the battle while thinking of me. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mama nusmara yudhyacha. Chapter 8, verse 7, Bhagavad Gita. Arjun, fight the battle, but at all times keep your mind attached to me. So your mind should be attached to me. That is self-surrender. Give me your mind. So surrender really is not an action. It is the cessation of all activity. The mind is only thinking of God. It is not performing a virtuous action or a sinful deed. We're giving the mind to God. Sant Kabir says, Jo kare so hari kare hot Kabir Kabir. The actions performed by this body, this named Kabir, these are not the actions of Kabir, they are the actions of the Supreme Lord. Why? Because every time he does something, his mind is absorbed in the thoughts of God at all times. Kabir Das thinks when he lifts his hands to do something, he thinks in his mind, I am doing puja, I'm offering worship to my Lord. When he goes here and there, he thinks, I am circumambulating God, I'm doing parikrama. When he lays himself down to sleep, he thinks, I am doing dandavat pranam before my Lord. God is on his mind 24 hours a day. He is surrendered to God. So all his actions are the actions of God. This is why when we read the words of Kabir, we don't doubt them. This is why when we read the words of Saint Tulsidas in Ramcharitmanas, we don't doubt those words. We do not doubt the words of Mirabai because we know that these personalities are surrendered to God. They have stopped doing everything and God is doing everything for them. Draupadi was in trouble. Dushasan was going to disrobe her in front of full assembly of kings and courtiers, and there were so many people there. And Dushasan was bent on disrobing her. He was pulling at her sari, and she panicked. She needed help. She looked towards the elders, they hung their heads down. She looked towards her 5 husbands, the Pandavas, they hung their heads down in shame. She looked towards herself. She's one of the 5 Panchakanyas. She is a very strong female. She's not an ordinary female. She tried to save her own honor by taking the edge of her sari and putting it between her teeth. But Dushasan's strength was much greater, and so he gave a little pull, and the sari was out of her teeth. And then she just called out. Then she called out to Shri Krishna. Then she said, "Ha Nath Dwarika Vasin," and he immediately came to her rescue. Shri Krishna was having a meal in Dwarika, and he put a morsel of food in his mouth, and then he did not chew it. He looked very worried. Rukmini ji was serving him food, so she asked, "Maharaj, is there some stone in the food? Something wrong with the food you're eating? Did I make a mistake?" No, no, no. Then, Maharaj, what is wrong? You seem worried. Rukmini, my devotee, one of my devotees, Draupadi is in trouble. Maharaj, go and save her then. I can't, because she's not surrendered fully yet. She is looking towards the elders to save her. She thinks Bhishma, Kripacharya, Dronacharya, they can save her, Dhritarashtra. Now she's looking towards her husbands. Oh, they have let her down. So now she's looking towards herself. And she's becoming more and more surrendered, but she's not completely surrendered. And now she's calling out to me. And Shri Krishna went immediately, and he protected her honor. Shri Krishna says, "Yada hi vaisha etas minnu dharmantarang kurute athatasya bhayam bhavati." Taittiriya Upanishad. If there's even a slightest bit of lack in your self-surrender, I shall not grace you. So he says full surrender, complete surrender. We were doubting him. We were thinking he expects us to do something before he gives us his grace. And we found out that saints have surrendered to him. So we thought, well, surrendering is an action. So he expects us to do something before giving us his grace. So this self-surrender is a condition that he places before us before he's willing to give his grace. So he's not causelessly merciful. But then we find out that self-surrender means cessation of all activity. It means to do nothing. Because the mind is the one that does everything. When we give that mind to God, the mind is not doing anything, then we are self-surrendered to God, and the act of surrender means to do nothing. So essentially what God says is, I shall grace you when you do nothing. To attain my grace, you must do nothing. That's what surrender is. So can we call him a businessman who sells his grace? Well, not at all. We can certainly now accept him as being unconditionally merciful. Tulsidas ji says, let me remind you, in Vinay Patrika, he says, "Aisa ko udar jag mahi, binu seva jo drave deen par, Ram saris ko nahi, aisa ko udar jag mahi." Who is merciful like my Lord? Who is as merciful as Bhagwan Sri Ram? He is unconditionally merciful. The world looks for a condition before bestowing grace. My Lord looks for no conditions. He is unconditionally merciful. He is causelessly merciful. Binu hetu sanehi, akaran kripalu. And now we have found out that the condition of self-surrender is not a condition at all. Sri Krishna says, do nothing. Come to the point of doing nothing. Let me drive the car of your life. And you just sit, relax in the back seat, I shall do everything for you. Surrender to me, and you will attain my full grace. So now, this is a very attractive offer, but we have not taken him up on this offer. Countless lives have passed, and the Vedas are eternal. They have always been telling us, surrender to God, receive his grace, and this is what you will get when you surrender to him, and this is how you surrender to him. Saints have explained to us, but we have not taken God up on his offer. Why not? Shri Krishna himself says in the Bhagavad Gita, there are 4 kinds of people, he says, who will not surrender to me. Namam dushkritino mudha prapadyante naradhama mayaya prahitagyana asuram bhavamashrita. Chapter 9, verse 12. Arjun, first of all, there is the individual who is a complete fool. He doesn't know that he's a soul. He doesn't know anything about God. And he's so foolish, and how can he surrender to me? He doesn't understand anything about spiritual life. Secondly, there is the one who does know something about spiritual life. He does know somewhat, but he's too careless and lazy to do anything about it. He's just too lazy to surrender. Naradham. It's like someone who says, I'm hungry, and some kind person comes and says, here's a whole plate of food, eat as much as you want. Oh, I can't be bothered because it's too much work. First I have to take my right hand, I have to take my hand and I have to take it all the way there, then I have to break the piece of roti, then I have to dip it in the sabji, the vegetables, or I have to eat the rice, and then I have to take a spoonful of rice, and then I have to put dal in it, and then I have to bring the spoon all the way to my mouth, then I have to put it in my mouth, then I have to chew that food. No way, I can't, it's too much work. So then you die of hunger. So there are people who are too lazy and too careless to surrender to me, although they've been given knowledge. Thirdly, there are those who not only refuse to come towards me, Arjun, but they will stop others from coming towards me as well. That's fourthly, by the way. Thirdly, there are those who have all sorts of doubts. Why did Lord Krishna do this? Why did Bhagwan Ram hide behind a tree when he killed Bali? He shouldn't have done that. Why did he renounce Sita? Why did Krishna perform the Maharas with gopis who were married women? He shouldn't have done that. He should have done that. He should not have done that. There are so many doubts. How can he surrender to God? And fourthly and finally, Shri Krishna says there are demonic people who will stop others from going towards God. Not only do they not go themselves, they will not surrender to me, Shri Krishna says, but they will stop others from surrendering to me also. So there are these 4 kinds of people who do not surrender. So it means that we must belong to one of these categories. And I strongly suspect it's the second one, Naradham. We have been given knowledge of scriptures. It has been explained to us how we should surrender, what we need to surrender. We have been given so much knowledge by a merciful master. We have received the knowledge, but then we are not surrendering to God. Why? Why not? Because we are already surrendered to the world, and we have only one mind. The gopis said to Uddhavji, Udhoji man na bhai 10-20, ek hu to so gayo sham sang ko avradhe is, Udhoji man na bhai 10-20. Uddhavji, you've given us a lecture, Brahmopadesh. How can we understand your lecture when Shamsundar has taken our mind away? You know, we don't have 10 or 20 minds. We have only one mind, and your friend, Krishna, has taken that mind away. So for us, we can say, we only have one mind, Shri Krishna, and I have already given that mind to the world. How can I surrender it to you when I have already surrendered it to the world? It would be great if I had 2 minds. I could give one to the world and one to you. But Maharaj, it's your fault. You've given me only one mind, and I have given it to the world. How can I give that mind to you? The question that arises here is, why? Why is our mind surrendered to the world, to this world in which we have not found true happiness? In this world, why are we so attached? Why are we so surrendered to this world when the fact is that we have not found true happiness in this life either. Why? This question will be taken up tomorrow, and with the grace of Jagat Guru Shri Kripaluji Maharaj, I will be answering this question tomorrow. Boliye Vrindavan Bihari Lal ki. Jai is very soft, I don't know why. Vrindavan Bihari Lal ki. Srimad Sadguru Sarkar ki. Jai Jai Shri Radhe. Jai Jai Shri Radhe. Jai Jai Shri Radhe. Kids, you must have noticed that if you were listening carefully, that I talked about surrendering. You know, when we surrender, what do? When someone surrenders to the enemy, what do they do with their hands? Put them up, right? We do that too, right? When we say Jai Jai Shri Radhe, do we do that? We do that. Jai Jai Shri Radhe. That means I am surrendering to you, O my Divine Mother. Radharani, I am surrendering to you.